Bitcoin collectors, Dan the Collecting Man here. Today I want to go through what are some of the key steps and things you should know when you're going to buy and own gold. So I thought I'd go through some of the critical things, some of the things that I've learned, and just hopefully if you're new to this and you're about to buy some gold, what are some of the key things you should know and some of the things you should focus on before you start. So for me, one of the key basic things that you need to do is set a target of weight. So how much gold do you want to own by the end of the year? Is there a certain target that you're going to have? So is it an ounce of gold? So you want to get a full ounce of gold, which is around $5,000 odd, depending on when you're watching this. So an ounce of gold, or do you want a bit smaller, or you want to get higher, maybe a couple of ounces of gold? Have a target set in mind. I think that's a good strategy to start with from a weight perspective, because that will help you drive all the other decisions that you do if you have a target in mind. Now, I think that's definitely something critical. Like every year I have a certain target that I have on how much weight I want to add to my collection. And that's a nice way to focus on. You might get some fun bits, but you might get some basic boring bits as well. So that way you do add a bit more weight to that as well. So you keep that in focus. Next is to learn dealers. So there's a lot of different dealers here in Australia and all around the world that will do all sorts of things. Some will definitely rip you off, and when you go to sell back to them, they'll give you under spot value. And that's something critical to learn. Understand what the spot price is. An app I use and a webpage I use is called Kitco, and make sure it's in Australian dollars. So learn that first before you go into a dealer. So that way you know if you're being ripped off or not. Normally the dealer, let's give this 1 ounce, and I'll call it at $5,000, the spot price at the moment, just for a bit of learning. If you're going to buy this from a dealer, a brand new one, you probably buy this for $1,100. So you're going to obviously have a bit of money on top of that for the dealer to make their money, and obviously there's some manufacturing costs that the Perth Mint would add to make this. So you're going to pay a little bit of what we call premium above the actual spot price. So you're not going to get this at the actual spot price. But when I go to sell it back to the bullion dealer, I want to sell it back at spot price. So I want to make sure that I'm selling it at the $5,000 price that is listed on the Kitco website at the time. So it's important that your dealer would do that, because sometimes they'll go, oh, that's not very collectible, that's only worth 70% of spot, or we can only do half price. They'll rip you off. If you're not knowing this kind of stuff, they will try and sell it for cheap. That way they can go and sell it straight away and make a massive margin. So be very careful. There are definitely, and I've heard a lot of stories of dodgy dealers that can pick up some older people that don't know and think, oh, they got some old coins, oh, they're not worth as much in gold compared to others, when gold is gold. It doesn't matter the condition. This can have scratches all over, it can be painted, whatever. It is still worth spot price when you go to sell it. Doesn't matter what condition it is, how ugly, how uncollectible it is. At the end of the day, it is still gold, and it should still sell at spot price back to your dealer or thereabouts. So make sure you know your dealers. Personally, in Australia, there's only a couple that I personally use, and that's Bullion now is by far the best. For me, I also use the Perth Bullion Exchange in Perth as well as a different one. I have a different dealers always, but Bullion now by far is the best when it comes to the cost price and for buying back and the value when you sell it. So even things like this, it's cheaper for me to buy this new from Bullion now than it is direct from the Perth Mint. So it gives you an example on their value and cost price from that aspect. So the next one is making sure you get the right size. So a size is really important, critical thing to look at as part of your collection. So obviously the bigger you go, the cheaper it's going to be from that aspect. Now, once it hits $5,000, most bullion dealers, you will have to show ID when buying the actual coin, which to me doesn't bother me personally, but some people like to make sure that that's off the radar. So $5,000, and now that we've hit 1 ounce, some people want to go a bit smaller than 1 ounce, so maybe your 20 grams kind of things. I personally like getting more of these 5 gram sizes. So these ones here, these are the 5 grams. It's something I'm going to focus on a bit more. They're a nice size, roughly $800 odd from a cost point of view, but definitely really cool. Another one are the sovereigns. They're roughly around a quarter of an ounce. This one's roughly a quarter of an ounce. This one does have a little bit of premium on it, but that kind of size is a nice, that quarter of an ounce. aspect, and I'll be getting some more 1/4 of an ounce sizes. So it's like 1/4 of that is a really good nice size to get. Or the 1/10 ounce is another one that people like to get. So I'm pretty sure this is a 1/10. So I've got some 1/10 and 1/20th, but the 1/10 is a really nice size. So finding the right size that suits you in bars or coins. The next one is, do you want bars or coins? Depends on what you're going to do with it. Some countries, when you go into it, you'll have to pay GST or certain things on bars, but not coins, because coins obviously have a currency to it, so they're defined as money, where bars don't have any currency on it. It is just simply a bar of gold. So you might find that you may need to put a GST on that one, where the coin doesn't. So for me personally, you are going to have to pay higher price to get the gold when it's a coin compared to a bar. So the bar was cheaper for me than the coin, even though I purchased it literally on the same day. But if you're traveling overseas or for other reasons, there's definitely some benefits in getting coins. The other key thing to look out for is making sure that whatever you get has it marked that it is gold, and the weight on it, that's very important. So as you can see here, this has 1 ounce of gold, and it's got the purity on there as well, 4/9 fine gold, so it's very pure. You'll find that even on these coins. So this has got the Perth Mint, and right at the top there, you can see there, 2024 1 ounce 4/9 fine gold. You want to make sure you get that. Even some of these ones that I'll get made, they're handmade. It's still got 1 gram on it, so it's got the weight, and it's very hard to see here, but it's got that it's gold on there as well. So even the small ones there, you want to make sure that it has gold written in it. I've got these micro small ones here, and even this one, which is only a 1 gram coin, at the bottom there you can see that it says it's gold on there as well. So very important to make sure you've got that. So you can see there, 1 gram of fine gold, as you can see that. So very important that you get gold that has it distinguished on there. It makes it a lot easier to resell, and it's definitely makes it sure that you've got something genuine in that regards compared to that one. You can see these ones here. This is obviously just actual gold found in the ground, so it's not going to be pure gold from that aspect. And some countries like Australia will have GST on things that aren't pure gold. So your sovereigns, a lot of the sovereigns that we have are only 22 carats, not 24 carats, so they're not pure gold. So you'll find this one here is the Royal Mint from the UK sovereign. It's not pure gold, so there will be a GST on this one. Now this one's a collector's item as well, so it's always going to be worth more than the gold value from that aspect. But just bear that in mind, that sovereigns, as much as they're good, and I'm definitely going to get more sovereigns over the years because I think they're pretty cool, they have a GST on them in Australia because they aren't pure gold. So you really want the 3/9s and 4/9s fine gold. That's definitely a good thing. The next thing to learn is making sure you have stuff that you're happy to sell back. Now that's probably a mistake I've made the most, is I've got all these really cool collectible pieces of gold, apart from these ones here. These are these cards here. They don't have any collector's value. I can easily get heaps of these if I wanted to, and I find these are really good to just be able to move on and get more of. So you've got Britannia, Pamps, and I'm looking to get more of these. And you can get them in all different sizes, especially from the Perth Mint. They're really good, and these are really good to get secondhand as well. So there's something that I personally would recommend you get as well, is just stuff like that, that you're comfortable to sell if you ever have a time of need. You're not going to be like this one here. It's going to be very hard for me to be able to sell this one back, because this is going to have potentially a real collector's value in the long term, being the first of a series. And I think this one's a really neat one, same as this one here. So definitely made well over $1,000+ on these in gold value, but they're pretty cool, and I think in the long term they'll add a lot more collectability, so I'm going to be harder for me to actually move them on and sell them. But also make sure you have a bit of fun with it. So I am a collector, hence the name Dan the Collecting Man. So I do have collecting bits of gold as well, so from the 1/10 ounce to the special editions out of the Royal Mint and also the Australian Mint. So I do like to have that. The next thing is to know who to sell to. So I spoke a little bit about that before, but it's making sure, one, you have a find your dealer to sell bullion to. But things like this one here, these are collector's items. So I would not sell this back to a bullion dealer, because I'm not going to get the value back. Like this is a 1/10 ounce. So at the moment, from a gold point of view, this is worth around $500 because it's 1/10, and obviously the gold value at the moment is around $5,000. But this has a real collectible value. It's the first of the Lunar series. It's a 1/10, and it was made at a very low mintage. So this is probably worth around $700 plus. So knowing that if I took this to a bullion dealer, I'm going to lose some of that money. So sometimes on Facebook marketplaces or other places like that, or going to a coin shop and things like that, you'll probably get a lot more money for that in the long term. Same as this one here. This one is only a 1/40th of an ounce. It's a really small piece of gold, but only a couple of thousand of these made. This is from the coronation of King Charles, and it's been graded at a perfect grade. So very high collecting amount, and I'll definitely not sell that to a bullion dealer. Where ones like this, in the long term, will probably be easy to go to a bullion dealer. I could go there right now with this and get $5,000 in cash in hand with that one, and I'll be pretty comfortable because I'm not sure if that's going to hold a long-term collector's value. So probably one of my key gaps that I've got at the moment is get more stuff that I'm comfortable to sell back to a bullion dealer because it has no real collector's value. And the last bit is around storage. Knowing where to store some of this stuff. So it's very important that you do have a good storage strategy. Definitely, I'll go to make a separate video on storage and some ideas, but never ever put it in a wardrobe in your bedroom, in a safe that you get from all those hardware stores. They are easy to be breaking into. Often you can find YouTube videos of how to break into that. And the first place that criminals normally go to in your house is your wardrobe, because they know that's where you keep normally your personal stuff. So making sure you have something that's quite more discreet and less easy to find. And I'll do a separate video on that so you can watch that and learn some of the key storage strategies and different places to look at, but definitely keep an eye on that. So hopefully you found this informative. If you know any other information, please put it in the comments down below to help other people that are new to buying gold to make sure they make the best decisions when it comes to buying gold. There's also a link down below for a shout out to buy me a coffee if you found this really informative. And if you're not yet subscribed to Dan the Collecting Man, make sure you get that subscription in to keep up to date and to learn more about collecting and bullion. It's going to be a lot of fun, and definitely seeing the way the prices are going this year, it's going to be a great year to be buying bullion right now. As always, thanks so much for watching and joining the coin collecting community. I'll catch you in my next video. Dan.